Hi, welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Lil Newman, the host, and our co-host, Susan Solomon, Executive Director of Drug Crisis in Our Backyard, is not with us today, but she'll be with us next time. And why did we start Viewpoint? We started Viewpoint because families don't know what resources are in their community. And our guests at Viewpoint are on the front lines answering questions, giving information about what they do and where people can reach out to them. And our guests today are Ellen Donaghey and Jimmy Downs. Did I say it right, Elle?
No.
What is it?
Donaghey.
Donaghey. You know what? Okay. Donaghey and Jimmy Downs from Relatively Stable Equine Therapy. That's your specialty. And you're a mental health professional.
Yes.
KSAC and LCSW.
Yes.
And Jimmy, you and I have known each other since 2006 when you worked at Arms Acres and your position was like marketing. So
regional rep.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been in this field for a long time. So can you tell us about equine therapy? And I see both your shirts are EGALA. So tell us about equine therapy, EGALA. You start.
Okay.
Go.
So EGALA stands for Equine Assisted Growth and Learning Association. Mm-hmm. It started in 1999 by a cowboy from Nebraska and a social worker from Utah. They were working in a residential program, like a wilderness program mm-hmm. with adolescents. Mm-hmm. And the cowboy felt that the kids needed something different, mm-hmm. and they had an opportunity to start working with horses. And he saw a tremendous change in their behaviors when they did some activities with horses on the ground, mm-hmm. not riding them.
Right.
So it was very successful, and then they decided to train other people how to do this model. Mm-hmm. And from those two folks starting that, we are now in 53 countries,
wow.
5,000 certified practitioners.
Right.
And it's a team approach. Mm-hmm. So the team is a licensed mental health professional, mm-hmm. as Ellen is, mm-hmm. and an equine specialist or horse professional. But the most important part of the team is the horse.
Right.
So you have to have at least one horse.
One horse.
And, or multiple horses, mm-hmm. or a donkey,
right.
or a mule, anything in the equine family.
Got it.
And horses live in a herd,
mm-hmm.
and they have a very specific social structure.
Okay.
And there's an alpha in the herd, and every horse in the herd has a place in the herd.
Okay.
And they are prey animals as opposed to predators.
Okay.
So the horses like goats, cows, mm-hmm. sheep, that family. So they're flight animals. When they are uncomfortable, they
right.
usually move away.
Right.
And they also survive by being able to read other living creatures.
Got it. That's a prey animal.
A prey animal, yes.
Okay.
It has to be able to read the other, the predator animals.
Got
and
it.
Humans are predators, so they have to be able to read people in order to survive and
okay.
keep themselves safe.
All right.
So we use their ability and their social structure to interact with people, and then the horse can become a metaphor for any person, place, or thing for the person. And we do activities on the ground, and we believe that all our clients have their own answers inside. Mm-hmm, it's mm-hmm. a solution-focused model.
Got it.
So it's a team approach, solution-focused. It's 100% on the ground. Mm-hmm. We don't ride horses.
Right.
And we have a specific code of ethics.
Okay.
Just like mental health professionals
right.
all have their own code
right.
of ethics.
Got it.
So that's a little bit about what the model is.
Okay. But and maybe you can help, I don't understand how the horse and the person, they work together, and that the person can resolve some of those issues. Because tell me the people that you work with, they come from where? All over. What?
Yeah, I mean, they come from all walks of life. We work in several different settings. One is an inpatient facility, and so they are coming from anywhere across New York State, the tri-state area. And what we do is we hold space. So they come into the arena, mm-hmm. and they have an opportunity to work through, in that particular setting, substance abuse issues.
So how does that help? How does that work? It's a horse and a person. So how do you come to a solution? So tell me, how does that?
So by holding that space, we will give them an activity and we'll ask them to use the horses to complete the activity. And what it'll do is they'll connect it back to something that they're working on.
Give me an idea. What's an
So
activity?
a common example might be that we'll have them create their journey from the facility to 3 places they're going to after. Maybe that's an outpatient program, 12-step program, a safe space, and they'll be able to use anything that's inside the arena. PVC pipes, construction cones, they'll physically construct that, and then they'll take the horses through that journey, and things will come up, like the horse may stop at the water bucket, and that could be a parallel to stopping at the bar before they go home.
Look at that. Now the light bulb is going off. Now I can envision how this works. And the horse stops wherever they want. So you think the horse is reading stuff from and now I'm going in a different direction. Horse is reading something from the person that has them stop at that particular place, wherever that is?
They certainly can. I mean, they're constantly reading what's in their environment. So that could be a really powerful thing. It might also not mean anything to them. And so we're going to check in with them at some point in the session, then probably at the end of the session, and just ask them what took place. And they'll be able to identify for us, did they encounter any obstacles along the way? Were they able to move the horse? And a lot of times they'll talk about that horse being representative of themselves, and them trying to lead them to a different location might be like someone trying to get them into treatment.
Got it. And the horse stays stuck. The horse doesn't move.
It
for whatever
depends.
reason.
It depends.
Right. So this example, the horse might just stay right where it is, and the person, no matter how much they tug at them or talk to them, right, or try and get them to move, the horse won't move. I guess that's
we can give
some
an
of the
example.
stuff. Please.
I bring 3 horses.
Okay.
And each horse has its own personality, just
Right.
like people. So we offer them to do whatever activity they're going to do, often that journey home or get connected with them or even just observe them. So usually in the very beginning stage, a lot of them, these are very often inner city, New York City clients that haven't been around horses at all. And so they may have some fears or anxiety coming in, just like they have fears and anxiety about their recovery. And then, so we'll just give them that time to be with them to start with. And then if they get to the point where they've built the journey home and they've created spaces, then they want to take the horse on that journey with them. So one of the horses, more often than not, if they encourage them, might go with them fairly easily. And then another horse may take a little more effort or challenges or using resources differently. And then one horse traditionally doesn't move as easily at all. And they'll wind up labeling those horses as people, places, and things in their life.
Got it.
It could be their sponsor. It could be another addict out there that they know, a relative of someone who's not willing to get help.
Right.
So they're able to tell us their story through working with the horses, and they identify different parts of their lives through the horses.
That's amazing. Now I'm beginning to understand it, because remember I said I just don't understand how it works. Now I'm beginning to understand. What a powerful tool.
Yeah, the trust relationship that has to be established in office therapy between the therapist and the client, it's not so important in our model because the trust is actually developed between them and the horses.
So it sounds like you're there to help the person understand or facilitate their understanding of what's going on or what happened when they took the horses on their journey.
Because it's solution focused, we don't so much as we don't interpret anything for them. We just give them the opportunity by asking questions about what the horses were doing.
Okay.
And we ask the questions through the horses, and then they can find their answers through what happened with the horses. Not so much like what they did.
Got it.
But, what were the horses doing and how did that affect their session?
I like this. Whenever I meet people and they're doing something different, I'm like, I need to learn about this. And so I'm glad you're here. So what's your background?
So I've been in the field for a little while. I'm a social worker and a KSAC, and I currently am a clinical supervisor at a men's shelter and rehab. I also have a background in military trauma, so I've been able to utilize that with the horses as well.
Right, because there's a designation for a military designation, which you guys have.
Yes, my company, Relatively Stable, LLC, we have on the Igala website, there are all different workshops and different different specialties in EGALA, corporate trainings, and there's a military designation, and both members of the team have to fulfill certain requirements above and beyond just being a mental health person or a horse person. You have to get some training and specialized training in trauma and working with the military specifically. And once you achieve those goals, then they put us on the website as military designated.
Wow. Do you work with like women from domestic violence? So anyone can come and do the therapy.
If you can do it in an office setting, we can do it in the arena, and it'll probably be faster.
So that's what I was going to. How long, and how do you know when it's a success, or the person's a success? How do you determine that? Help me.
Being that you just said, do we work with sexual trauma? Right? Is that the question? So, for 3 years, we started doing this work at Holliswood Psychiatric Hospital in Queens, and there was a military wellness program within the hospital. So we were working with the military, and we had a session, and there were 8 clients, 7 were men, and 1 was female. So we gave them an activity to create a place where they felt safe, and then bring the horse to that place. So the 7 men were sort of chasing the horses around, trying to catch up with them. But the female, she just made a little circle with pool noodles, and then just sort of crouched down in that space. And she had a rope and some equipment. And actually, the horses were running around, but after a while, one came right up to her.
Wow.
And she put the equipment on the horse and was standing directly in front of the horse, just sort of talking to the horse. And another horse came directly behind her horse. So the horse had no place to go because she was standing directly in front of him, of the horse. So the horse let out a very high-pitched squeal. Wow. They can make different sounds, and it was a high-pitched squeal. And at the same time, kicked one back leg out at the horse that was getting too close. And when that happened, she went like total flat affect, was holding the rope, and then a few seconds later started screaming, "Get me out of here, get me out of here," with some expletives. And we took the entire group, we went back into the facility. So our team went with the 7 men, and her case manager, her actual case manager, took her into an office to debrief and talk and calm her down. So we processed it with the 7 soldiers that were there, and then we had another session, so we had to leave and go back outside for the second session. So it wasn't until the following week when we found out exactly what happened, because we just assumed it was a combat-related trauma. No, it wasn't at all. She actually was raped by a family member when she was like about 12 years old, and had never, ever told anyone in her life. So she was able to experience it, relive it, deal with it with a therapist, and start working on that.
That's amazing.
And again, she never had told that to anyone in her life. So it's an experiential model where things will come up, even maybe things that you didn't plan on sharing with anybody.
Right. That's amazing. I really want to see it.
We would love to have you come see it, because the best way to understand it is to actually go through the experience.
It's amazing. So you have private clients. How does it work? How do people get could you just talk to the camera and tell them how they can get in touch with you? Whoever.
Well, there's an EGALA website, egala.org, EAGALA.org, and we are listed on there. But it's listed by state, or the name of our company is Relatively Stable LLC, and we provide EGALA model services. I live in Newtown, Connecticut, so we provide services in Connecticut and New York, and we're on the website, and our number's there, and our contact information is on the website.
Okay. So how does it work? So do therapists call you and say, I have a client that the equine therapy might work, or I'm stuck, or what? Okay,
so I also work with Lori Ceverdini is a licensed clinical social worker. She also works with us and does military work, and she has private clients, and she has shifted some of her private clients over to Brewster. We work at Windhorse Farm, and we've worked at Susan Tracy's farm has a beautiful indoor arena, so we've worked there with her horses, with Lori's some of her clients, because sometimes clients get stuck in their treatment plan, and it's a great adjunct as well as a regular treatment plan. You can also use it as an adjunct for clients who sometimes they're stuck and they need to do something different.
Right.
But some people do this work just as a standalone therapy, so you can use it as an adjunct, but you can just also have this be the sole method of treatment that you provide.
So then what would the prices, what do you charge for someone?
So it depends. I mean, oftentimes we'll offer a free assessment session, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
We can work with insurance companies as well.
They do? The insurance reimburses?
With some, yes.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's great that they're looking at alternative treatment and therapy for people, because we talk about the 12 steps, AA meetings, traditional treatment. Something's got to give, because it ain't working.
And we have
85%. You do. So what's that about?
So our workshop is EGALA and the 12-step model. So
Okay.
what we do is we teach EGALA practitioners about how to use the 12 steps in their work. So we'll talk about the work that we've done in different locations.
How do you mesh the two?
In a lot of different ways.
Well, I guess our favorite example is the long pool noodles.
Yes.
So we cut them into smaller pieces, and we write a lot of issues that substance abuse clients will run into: depression, anxiety, stress, relapse, slip, they call it.
Right.
And we'll have a whole bunch of pool noodles with all those kind of words on it of their substance abuse issues, and then we'll also have tools, the steps, the slogans, all different tools they can use, sponsorship, spirituality, and we'll have them on the pool noodles in a big bucket.
Okay.
So when we do those activities, those are out there.
Okay.
Ellen worked with the adolescents at Arms Acres a lot, and we do an adolescent session, and we do 2 adult sessions, an adult male, adult female sessions. One of the adolescent sessions, we have all kinds of material in there. Some is traditional horse, like little jumps and things that you would see in a horse, and then others are just stuff. PVC pipes, and Ellen mentioned that before, cones. So they took some cones and PVC pipes and the big noodles with a lot of their issues,
Right.
and they made an arch,
Wow.
which was in front of one of the little jumps, and it was all their issues, all their stuff they had to work on. And then on the other side of the jump and further down the arena, they made another arch
Right.
with all of the solutions
Got it.
and the tools.
Wow.
And they got connected with the horses, and they each took turns going through
Wow.
that journey, dealing with the obstacles and the challenges, and they went from their issues to
Right.
their solution.
That's amazing.
So we never know what they're going to do.
Right.
And we don't tell them.
Right.
We just put it in there, and they're free to use it any way they would like to.
We also have some saddle bags that we'll keep in the arena as well, and those become toolkits to recovery. So you could find things like the grapevine within them, and they can put them on the horse and have the horse move with them through the arena.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you know that it's working?
I really don't think that's for us to decide. I really feel like that's for them to decide. I mean, it's solution oriented, so people will give us feedback. A lot of times we hear, this is the first time that I haven't felt anxious. I haven't felt depressed since I've been here. I forgot I was in treatment. So in that sense, when they're really able to work on their issues and they're not so focused on all the external things that are
Right,
going on in their
right.
life, I would say that that's successful for them.
And you said when we talked to them, you said it's faster than maybe traditional treatment. How do you know? You have to have a beginning, middle, and end to know that it's faster or that
Yeah.
it's work. How do you judge that? How do you,
Well, it's considered a brief or short-term therapy
Right.
because things do seem to just happen much quicker than in an office. They say about 12, 13 weeks is the average treatment
Okay.
time. Not that you can't see someone
Right.
longer than that.
Right.
Well, I can give you another example.
Please.
Greystone Psychiatric Hospital did 2 18-week pilot programs with the EGALA model. And what they did was they had traditional it's a 500-bed state psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
So they selected the most violent clients in the hospital, the
Okay.
most violent patients. And they had 3 groups. They had a traditional group with therapists
Right.
and psychiatrists, and then they had a canine group
Okay.
with dogs, and then they had the equine group, and they used the Igala model.
Okay.
So when they did this study, when it came out, the only group where the violent incidents went down
Right.
was the equine group.
Wow.
And just coincidentally, dogs are predators, humans are predators.
Oh.
And again, prey animals are flight animals. They move away from violence or
Look at
anything that threatens them. So it's just interesting that the only group where the violent incidents went down was the one with the prey animals.
That's right. That's something, because you start to think that we are predators. Dogs are predators, and people with the most violent tendencies were probably predators. Don't want to besmirch their character, but it's safe to say, and that's why they didn't do well with that type. Wow,
Yeah, it's really
it's
interesting.
amazing. I keep saying that because it's
Well, it is amazing. to us.
It's amazing, and it must be so rewarding for you guys,
Absolutely.
especially since you've both seen traditional treatment. How this is something different and it's working.
Yeah, and traditional treatment works well
Traditional
as well.
treatment works also. I'm not knocking it.
But a lot of people wind up coming back to treatment over and over again. They're having a difficult time. And we give them a little 5-question self-assessment
Beginning or end? In the
at
beginning?
the end,
Oh,
right at the end of their session.
Okay.
And that's a pretty good barometer for how they're doing, because those 95% of them are very positive, and they say things like, "This was an amazing experience." Especially like the adolescents, but the adults as well. They got a million rules in there, to keep people safe. It's
Absolutely, right.
and then they come out with us, and we give them the opportunity
Right.
to have that time with the horses and do what they need to do. And they discover things about themselves. They go in and they're frightened. Some of them verbalize it. Some of
Right.
them, you can read it non-verbally.
Right.
But in a 45-minute to a 1-hour session, you see the transitions and the changes, and they talk about it.
And the people you have people that come back like session after session, like every 2 weeks. What's the if there is a norm or a
Yes
standard?
and no.
Okay.
Yes, no, sometimes always. We say, the clients at Arms Acres, it's short-term therapy, and more, they only get sometimes 7, 8, 10 days treatment.
Right.
At St. Christopher's Inn, we have the military. Anyone who's ever in the military at St. Christopher's Inn, they have about 190 clients at a time. We have their military clients come out once a week, and those clients, we see them, they're there 12, 13 weeks. They're
Got
there
it.
for 90 days, many of them. So then everything slows down, and we don't have to do like the more goal-directed. We let them sort of...
Right, because you have more time with them.
Right.
Becomes more client directed.
Got it. Will you tell the audience the number that they can get you at? Relatively stable. So if they want to call you, where do they call you?
Relatively stable, they can call 203-240-3937.
Perfect. Because I've got thoughts of people that I'd like to have them call you to see what they can do, because they're stuck in treatment, 4, 5, 6 years in treatment, in and out of detoxes, rehabs, halfway houses, and cannot live clean and sober except out of a structured environment. So maybe this is something they can add to their treatment, and it'll help.
More and more, when Ellen and I started this, we started a networking group for Igala certified people, but it's open to the public to come and see what we do. And we started in Putnam Lake. Joan Cleary was also involved with us. We used to have 4, 5, 6 people come, and then it just sort of exploded. It got really popular, and we started, and now there's a networking group up in Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. Wow. It's really growing exponentially. Commissioner Lori Sutton, she's the Commissioner of Veterans Affairs for New York City. We go to the Veterans Mental Health Coalitions down there. She's a psychiatrist, and she was also a brigadier general in the Army.
Okay.
And at one of those meetings, she informed the group, she said, animal-assisted therapy, in particular equine-assisted therapy, should not be an adjunct treatment for military with PTSD. It should be their core treatments.
Wow.
Because they don't really enjoy traditional office therapy.
Right. Right. And that's what I was thinking with police officers also, and correction officers who normally, I'm not saying normal, but might not talk in traditional therapy. This is a great way for them. So we have to stay connected because more people. Do your horses travel? Do you bring your horses places? You got a little van that you put them in?
We ride them.
You
there.
ride them. You ride them down the highway.
Yeah, we bring.
You can travel.
We bring them to Arms Acres 3 times a week.
Okay.
And then on Fridays, the Montrose Veterans PTSD unit.
Yes.
I think it's 24 bed or so unit. They come to. They go to Endeavor in Bedford Hills. On Fridays, they come to Elizabeth's place.
In Brewster?
No. In Bedford.
Okay.
It'll come to me.
It'll come to you. And
so
why
we
it
go
does?
there. We go there on Fridays.
Good.
And we work with the PTSD unit every Friday.
Well, every treatment program should have you guys. And I'm just visioning you and at St. Vincent's. We got 60 acres. I mean, you could be there and hang out. But that's my dream.
It's challenging bringing horses to the facilities, but it's doable. It's worthwhile.
See, this went fast, didn't it? We're out of time.
Really?
We're out of time. Do you see that? And he thought he was going to be so nervous you weren't going to say anything. It was great having you, really. And you'll come back again?
Yes.
Please.
We'd love to.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So you want to give them your number again, Jim, where they can reach you? Relatively stable.
Relatively Stable LLC, 203-240-3937.
Perfect. Keep talking while we're rolling.